This is the August 25th Sangerville Selectmen's meeting. Full board is present. Melissa Randall, Tom Carone, Dale Gray, and the town manager, Dr. Kenneth Woodbury. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, additions to the agenda.
Besides those listed, I have two others. C, MMA convention, and D, the letter to the MMA on legislative agenda. And they would be under communications. The others are where they belong in the agenda.
Public hearing.
All right, now item 4, we're having a public hearing on the adoption of General Assistance Appendix A to D for 2016-2017, concurrently with open forum, so we'll entertain any discussion we have, unless Ken would like to explain to us what this is all about.
Every year you have to update the general assistance appendix of what people are reimbursed for if they qualify. And before you adopt it, you have to have a public hearing so that anyone from the community can speak. And so you have a public hearing, then you close the public hearing, and then you can then take up the general assistance appendix, which is...
You guys want to look at it?
So it was posted.
Oh, I need some. Yes.
Appendix A through D was posted around town. And if no one has anything, and there are no comments, you can just close the public hearing and move on.
Anybody want to say anything? No? So let's close the public comments on the general assistance appendix. Anybody for open forum?
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew you had something to say. Go ahead.
well, it's my duty
All right, tell us.
as school board member, just to let everybody know that the latest round of public meeting upon which the public votes to approve the budget will happen Monday evening. 6 to 7 will be information time, and at 7 o'clock will be the actual start the voting process. This budget is, I think it's 111,000 more than was in the last budget, which got turned down by everybody but Sangerville. So maybe Sangerville's turn to strike.
So, maybe this time we can make it unanimous to turn it in.
Absolutely.
The purpose of the increase is, number one, 2 of the 4 teachers that were put on half-time will be moved into administrative-type positions for their other half-time, so they'll continue to receive their full salary. Also, the L4L, what's that?
L4L, yeah.
Okay.
Learning for life.
Yeah, that is, we had struck it out of earlier budgets. It will be back on a half-time basis because we had 4 students from previous years, and apparently there's been 3 more have signed up for the program. So it will be a half-time pay position. So that explains the reason for the wage budget increase.
What are the administrative duties that these people are going to do that wasn't done before?
It was one of them, Deland, I think it is going to be like an assistant principal and take some of the workload off of the principal. And believe me, they got, they're all the time shoveling.
I think they're shoveling all right.
Well, they're shoveling, thank you to the state. Some other things that can help with in scheduling all sorts of things besides your regular classroom work.
So is this a make work?
Kind of, yes. I mean, you didn't attend the last public meeting we had where there was information passed after the turn down of the last budget. A couple of people stood right up and said that, in effect, that until the school budget provided these people with full-time salaries, the budget wouldn't be passed. Now, that just teased me off, but in the interest of getting a budget passed, I went along with it. I don't like being blackmailed or bullied by anybody. I don't take well to it.
The town vote on the budget is September,
8th, I think? No.
Yes, September 8th.
Yeah,
the 8th?
Yes.
September.
It's hard to do it, but at that meeting next Monday night, people can vote to lower that budget.
Yes, they can.
The number they're presenting does not have to go to the people.
No, in fact, they have to come out of that meeting with an approved budget by the show of hands vote. That brings up another issue, which is part of this. The whole state setup is screwy. But that's beside the point. The state likes to play politics. And we're the victims. Don't get me started.
Really, the only people that are going to solve this is at the state level by redoing the funding formulas.
Well, you know they ain't gonna do that.
And that they pushed this onto us, and they've created all this contention at the local level when it really was created at the state level.
Of course it was. I know
Because
it was.
early in the 70s, the reason the revenue sharing came in, the reason the funding formulas came in for the school districts was to relieve the property tax. And with the current administration in Augusta, they've into regressive taxation. They're trying to put it back to the way it was before. And that's where the problem is. How to get them to pay attention to us in Augusta, I have no idea. But they're the guys that made the problem.
Well, yes.
Well, and the other part of the problem at the state level is the major expense of all school districts is labor and benefits.
Mhm.
And it is a state union
Yep.
that dictates labor and benefits.
Well, and I've
So
heard.
they are telling you what you have to do because we're going to split it with you, and then they're not splitting it with you.
Right.
So that's kind of it.
Yeah, and I've heard that when you join the school board over there, they give you a big lecture about how now you work for the main education association.
Yeah.
Or,
They do, and in my case, they told them go to hell. As you know, I'm perfectly able to do.
I'm sure you're her favorite board member.
I am. I work for the people who elected me to this position.
So our vote, our town vote is on the 8th,
Yes,
the one that really...
the one you come in here with the ballot.
Okay, thank you. And Ken, will you send an email?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Great. All right, if we're done with that, let's move on to communications. Item 5.
First one is there is an MMA convention coming up in October, and Tom would like to go. Tom could represent
just for
us.
one afternoon, not going
What's your
for
interest?
3 days.
What's your interest that afternoon?
There's a dessert and grand prize drawing at 3:15.
Oh, that's what he's the one for. Okay, all right. Raffle
There's an
ticket.
active shooter, tactical instruction, and
Is that what you're going
so
for?
he's armed for that.
Yeah, that's,
There's municipal impact on new overtime rules. Dale should be going to that.
and the last
Here.
thing,
Dale
You
Overtime
want-
Gray. No, it's
the one
Dale
you
No
marked up?
Overtime Gray.
oh, I've got, well, it's in, and also there's a little seminar for an hour demonstrating the 2016 municipal salary survey that they've been
They're
working
going
on.
to unveil it at the
Ooh,
convention.
there we go. Then it'll be on the
Scary.
website. We can download it and look at it. I like to go to the verbal judo one. I think that's.
So, Tom could be our representative?
Yes, I think
To
that would
the
be great if
MMA?
you went there.
Thank you,
One
Tom, for
afternoon.
volunteering.
One afternoon.
I will pay my own way.
I mean, we expect you to tell us about it after you're done.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be pretty interesting.
Okay. The other one is the letter, Melissa, that you passed around
Yep.
last meeting, which would go to MMA as they prepare their legislative agenda
Well, what I did actually is I sent it myself because we kind of didn't get back to each other, and I got an answer today in the mail, and they're gonna help us out. They're gonna help me out. And
Cool.
yeah, they're gonna help me out, and they might do it in. They don't know whether the legislative agenda committee will pick it up because it's kind of a specific sort of thing, not, really giant applicability everywhere. But they could do it in such a way that they would do it on behalf of Sangerville, and take it. They're waiting. Llewellyn is on vacation. When he gets back, he's gonna do his thing with it. And they basically said it was misused and that there should be something done. They can see the need of it. And so
Sean, can we have the MMA thing back?
So you guys, if you
Wanna
want
do
to,
the
after
minutes
me,
so I
ever
can
read that
date?
thing, go ahead.
Is this about the law under which you were
No, I wondered
sued?
if you could explain.
Brief,
what that
yeah,
was
give them a
about.
quick rundown of what we were just talking about.
The lawsuit against me by Irving got dropped. But the way the law that he used is really antiquated. The last time it was used was 1967, and before that it was in the 20s. And basically he challenged me, and on the basis that the election process somehow was flawed at town meeting. But the town was not enjoined in the suit. So therefore, for me to defend myself and keep my seat, I had to defend the election process of the town. So I have to defend the town to defend myself. That's not right. I shouldn't have to do it on my own dime because I had no control over that election. So I either would like to see the law repealed, or I like it amended in some meaningful sort of way that it can't be used as a
yeah.
slap suit
Okay.
again. And they're behind that. So
That's good. Thank you for that.
Minutes.
yes, okay, let's move on to the minutes. Make a motion that we approve the August 9th, 2016 Select Board meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Dale seconds.
Okay, and take a vote. Okay, let's do the other one, we can sign them all at one time.
Yes.
Let's make a motion to approve the April 28th, 2016 special town meeting minutes. Do we have a second? Tom?
Yep.
Discussion at all?
Yep.
Take a vote?
Yep.
That's 3-0 on that one too.
So Tom did the
Second.
Yep.
April 28th, right?
Yep.
Dale did the
Special
first.
town meeting.
Dale.
Dale did the first one, Tom did the second one.
Question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Why are we just now approving the April 28th special town meeting?
Are
We
gonna take it
needed, for the contract with MRC, they wanted a certified copy of the
Okay.
minutes, and Doreen had not done the minutes, so that's why
That's
we got
when you
them
were
now.
absent, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I was there
No,
for the
you
special town meeting,
You were?
yeah.
Yep.
But she hadn't done
Well,
the,
you weren't on the board.
Yeah, it was, that was in April.
Oh, April 20th.
Yeah. so,
Okay.
It's okay.
so I had to have her dig out the order and get them
Okay,
done.
just curious.
Okay, let's move on to item 7, unfinished business.
Okay.
Ken, would you like to handle A?
Yes, this had been tabled. No, first one, A.
We want to get the final number.
We did not have, right, the final number, so this has the final number, which is 10,
Yeah.
where is it?
At the top.
104.
104, 341, and 27 cents. And then I included in parens all the contract language, so you know exactly
Yeah,
how it was
what we got for that?
derived.
Okay.
I have authorized payment of one of the East Sangerville Road and the Silver's Mills Road, but not the French's Mill.
Until they
So
fix
we'll
it.
hold the check on the French's Mill until they come back and
Yep.
Did you get
repair it.
confirmation if that patch that's there is what they were?
They have not been back. They're going to come Thursday.
Okay.
Would one of you like to make a
Are
motion?
they, is B and B
up to date on this, and they're okay with the numbers?
This is their contract, yeah.
That's the numbers.
Yeah, this
Just
is their
saying,
bill.
these are their numbers
This is their bill.
that we've received, what it's gonna end up being. So they're okay with the,
They have to be, they send it to me.
right, okay. All right, just want to make sure everybody's
I
on the
didn't make
same
them up,
page.
right, they made them up.
Okay.
Would one of you like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
A second? And Tom second? I think he was quicker than I was with that. They have it.
So, is this it?
Who
Is that anything
Tom.
else?
Let's take a vote.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on to B. Ken, would you like to lead us through that one?
This had been tabled. All this does is rescind two actions made by previous boards, one in 2013, and the other in 1995, which messed up the Gray Road. One discontinued the entire Gray Road, and the other one tried to muddle around with whether it had been discontinuance, abandonment. So this rescinds those, so it cleans the books.
Mhm.
Then what we'll have to do is go to the town for permission to discontinue a section of the road
From the new
50,
turnaround.
100 feet below Lance's driveway, which goes down the hill, the rest of it down to the Flanders Hill Road. And then we'll add on to our local roads, the 2,200, roughly of 2,200 feet from the telephone pole to the end of where we did the ditching a week ago.
Okay.
So we'll get a little bit more in our local roads payment.
So what this does is technically correct all the confusion of conflicting road designations.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Because 95 and 2013, neither one of them was technically done accurately.
Correct.
So if we rescind it now, then we can have it done
And we
properly.
can, yeah. It's really a matter of discontinuance. It's not, rather getting into the murky
The murky
thing
waters of abandonment.
abandonment, which is 30 years, no one's, town hasn't done anything, and
We can prove we never abandoned it because it's always been plowed.
But I mean, what we're doing is, we're changing what they've done in the past because they didn't do it properly to begin with.
right.
So what they did do in the past wasn't actually legal
Well,
because
when,
we've been
in
going
'06,
against it.
when they did it, if they would have done what they said they were gonna do,
Right.
but they didn't, they kept plowing it, they kept doing it, so.
The June 22, 1995 action declared the Gray Road discontinued by abandonment without specifying the area. The November 12, 2013 action attempted to specify the area by using a point by the Lentini property by telephone pole number 331-14. The area from the pole to the Burgess driveway had never been, quote, abandoned, unquote. And the Select Board in 1995 did not follow the law of presumptive abandonment, quote, unquote, and which also requires a record of the action with the Registry of Deeds. The Select Board did not follow the, quote, statutory process of discontinuance, unquote, which culminates in approval of the order of discontinuance by town vote. You never went to the town. And the appropriation of money to pay for damages, and then the town clerk to record and attest a certificate of discontinuance in the Registry of Deeds.
So let's be clear on something too.
That's why.
We have discontinued roads over the past several years, several times, but we've never paid damages. And I think when we go to town meeting with this year, it needs to be pretty said up front. We never paid damages, so maybe we shouldn't give a $1 damage to cover that. But I'm kind of wondering a few of them involved here, whether they won't be standing there with their hand out, and I don't want to see a big payout on the part of the town, because
So far, it's going very smoothly.
yeah, right, and it
Very good job, by the way, on how you've done that.
yeah, that was smoothed nicely. So I make a motion that we rescind those two actions. You have a second?
Yeah, second.
Tom, further discussion? Vote? Okay. All right, we are on to new business item 8, time clocks. We want to talk about time clocks.
That was done by Mr. Carruth.
I had approached this as just a curiosity item to see whether it has any merit and how the board feels about time clocks. As a person that has had to punch a time clock in the past, in numerous jobs, I've never taken any offense by it. I mean, I personally have seen issues where somebody left early and told somebody else to go ahead and punch me out at 5 o'clock also. Those things that can be misused, I guess that's what I'm saying. But whether or not it has, like I said, any merit or value to it, I just wanted to throw it out there to the board and get your feedback on it.
How much are time clocks?
$300 or $400.
Depending on what you want to get.
That would be one of your questions. How much are the time clocks?
Depends on what type you want to get. I mean, if you want to get one of the old ancient paper ones that you're still gonna, you know, or
So
you,
you want to do a card?
So we'd have to do 2?
or you can get these ones.
Yeah. No, it's
You know,
a
it's all electronic.
new version.
You're talking about for our 2 town clerks?
Or deeply
So there'd be
offended.
2 of them?
I don't know, I'm just,
I know our town clerks would revolt.
Yeah, the clerks are deeply offended.
Yeah.
And I think at times, Public Works goes home directly without going back to the shed, so we're probably adding time on to their day by making them go to o'clock.
I know the town clerks are here before 8:30 and they work after 5.
Yeah, and we're lining ourselves, and then we've documented the overtime that we're not paying. For everyone to see.
I punched the time clock for 28 years. I personally have no problem putting them in both places. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with them. I go to work every day.
I think
I
it's-
don't feel offended because I have to punch in.
I just think it's overkill for as small a crew as we have here. I think it's overkill. I mean, you know, we certainly can easily check up whether they're here or not.
well, obviously, we work on an honor system right now, which, you know, has been there, I guess, ever since the town started. We've never had a time clock in here. You know, like I said, with Dale, I mean, I've worked in a number of different places and never had any issues.
Yeah, but if you're working in a big
But-
place where you've got a lot of employees to keep
Well,
track
we
of.
had three people working in one shop, but I have to admit, the time clock was there also for punching in, punching out on certain jobs, too. So the owner could keep track of what the actual time was spent on the job in order to charge out the labor accordingly.
And the other thing I heard was they just make sure that they were punching in and out, taking their 15 minutes in the morning, their 15 minutes in the afternoon.
Time clock has nothing to do with break schedule. Not at all.
No, you don't punch out on.
You don't punch
break.
out for breaks.
But they would make
Punch
sure
in
they
the
took
morning.
the breaks. I mean, I'm telling you what I'm hearing back from the employees, that they would.
I don't think this is good management doing this.
Yeah, well, I mean, just threw it out there.
Has the town ever had an incident where we feel there's been dishonesty with regard to time?
Not
So,
since I've been here.
What would the benefits really be in this situation?
Just a little bit closer monitoring of work time. That's my only interest in it. But, you know, like I said, the honor system has worked out okay, and, you know, I mean, I look at timesheets every week for the payroll warrants, and I do keep very close tabs on anything to do, especially with overtime, you know, that, or anything over what's normal time that the people work. So, and Ken can attest, if anything shows up on overtime, I always ask him, was it validated, was it, you know, okayed? And, you know, we're in agreement with that, so. No, that's all. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there, and if it's not something that, at this point, we're
I think
interested
that's
in,
just
then
making
I'm
trouble with people.
perfectly okay to drop it.
Thank
I
you.
think it's your call. She's against it and I'm for it, so I guess that's up to you to whatever.
Well, let's put it this way. Like I said, I closely monitor the timesheets. I can't be everywhere all the time to check and make sure. That's where the honor system comes in, and I feel satisfied with the employees getting paid for the time that they're actually working. So for the time being, I'd kind of let it go, unless something comes up. If something comes up in the future and we've got a
Well,
problem.
you can always bring anything back at any time.
That's right, so.
Were we gonna vote on this, or
Just
I have to put,
just
just say it was discussed?
discussed.
Yeah.
We discussed it.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
But do we have to send it down so you don't get stuck putting it back on the agenda every time? That's my, I'm not sure how that works.
No, we can let stuff just fall off the agenda.
Oh, you can't, okay, I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah. I mean, it's not tabled, so
We sometimes do it on purpose, and sometimes it just happens.
you can always, whenever you want something on the agenda, you just tell me, I put it on.
All right, let's move on to the 5-member select board. One more time, gang.
And that was that list
Oh, yeah,
that
okay.
I passed around.
Yeah, and that's only half the alphabet.
That's only half the alphabet. I got tired of counting after the first half of the alphabet. I figured
Okay.
the second half would probably mirror the first half.
How many towns are there in the state of Maine?
What is it, 440, 450, something close to 450?
So it's the vast majority of 3 in our population range. But I went down into the 300s, Islesboro, things like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I stopped around 2,200, 2,100. So anywhere from,
Well,
and that's the list. So the vast majority have 3-member boards. And who has 5-member boards? It doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason to it.
right.
There are
Yeah.
very small towns with 5-member boards.
Out of the list of up to half the alphabet, the ones marked in red are close to Sangerville in population.
Easton's a really rich place. Eastport's a rich place.
And I look too, that, because, I mean, my big thing for my interest of the 5-man board is so that any one of us could communicate. So I went back and looked on it, and the only part I could see in there is where it said, was talking about a quorum, which if we went to 3 would be 3 of us couldn't talk, but any 2 could. So I did ask Ken if he could
Yeah, and I haven't done that. I need to check that
get
again.
clarification, because if we go to 5 and I can't talk to you afterwards,
It
then
just
to me it's a moot
further-
point. I mean, that's my interest in it, is being able to do that.
Yeah, that needs to be checked because it's obvious that if 2 can talk, then 2 would talk, and then one of those 2 would then pivot and talk to the other, and you've got your majority, which is, the intent of the law is to prevent outside public meetings,
Right.
the discussion and conclusion on an issue. That's
Right, but the
not-
way it reads in the book says quorum. It doesn't say,
Yeah, I think that I would have said something to MMA.
I mean, I don't know how long these other towns have had, 5-member boards and how it's worked out.
So Greenville has a 5-member board.
You're bigger than us.
Yeah, 1,600 and
Guilford.
1,425.
Guilford has one.
I thought you were way bigger than we were.
No, because it's the
3/4
summer.
of them move out. They're only there a couple months at a time. I mean, really, that's,
No, it's true, yeah.
it's the way it
They
works.
don't vote, and they don't, yeah.
Right, they don't count.
They're
I mean,
not permanent residents.
you get 3 times the population in Greenville, but
Yeah,
these ones are there for 2 weeks, and these ones are there for
And
2
the
weeks,
squirrels
and
in the
these ones are
mix,
there.
it's a tourist town.
Yeah.
Now, I think,
Why don't we take it up when we write the warrant about the straw vote at town meeting? Revisit it way down the road when we're writing the warrant, and possibly do a straw vote at town meeting. And if that happens, then in the following year, then before the next town meeting, you could have that special town meeting to vote it in.
Voted in.
And
it'd
then,
be on the-
on the third year, on the next year out, that would be 18. You would vote your 3-minute, that would, and then if you go into town meeting and there is no interest in it, then it dies a death, right? And we've given them the opportunity to speak on it.
I mean, we can approach that way, and I've already heard rumor of the petition. I
mean,
haven't
if
heard of
they
anything being
petition-
signed,
If they petition it in, hey,
then that's different.
That's
No,
different.
that's correct. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
but the other part with the petition is we don't have to call a special. We can hold it for regular town meeting. We're not going to have a special meeting. We can hold it for town
But
meeting. They can't, nobody can force a special.
I look, I have an interest, I'm not, and again, it's one of the reasons for attending tonight, and as I said, I have tremendous respect for all that you do. It's a difficult job. And I did read the law and looked at the MMA book and the whole 9 yards. I mean, there's a lot of stuff written in the recommendation between 3 and 7 throughout the state. And just a very quick look, 5, Dover with, 7, but Belgrade, Paris, Woolwich, Greenville, Camden, Lincolnville, Union, Elliott, and Algonquin were just some of the ones that I was able to see that all had 5-person boards. I was very curious because it is such an important decision. Number one, is it possible to have a public forum on something like this? This is a really important decision to be made, number one. And number two, I would be very curious if some of our selectmen were able to talk to someone either in Greenville or Woolwich or wherever and find out why they have a 5-member board. I like to know the information because it is such an important decision.
No, the only town I really have any interaction with on a 5-member board is just Guilford, being a former resident there. So, I mean, I wasn't pressing for a decision on this tonight. I think I'd still like to get a little bit more information. I'm planning on going out to Brownville, and maybe I can talk to the chair out there or the town manager and see how that works out. But I'd like to just keep the momentum going and try to get it to a point. Now, whether we do it that way or we do something else, especially if a petition does happen and come up, maybe we can shift gears a little bit.
Well, the petition takes it out of your hands anyway.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
The question is what you as a board want to do.
Yeah.
I'm still, like I said, I mean, I like it here, so we're talking about it right now because we're all learning this part that I want you to find out about. To me, that's key. Because, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, if I can't go talk to you or go talk to you, then I question whether there's any benefit in moving to 5 people.
I think also if it's not going to benefit you all and town government, then it's a moot point.
Right.
I can find out that.
That's the bottom line.
I could ask Greenville.
Okay.
They're allowed to talk.
I know Newport does, but I'm not. That's what
Okay.
Yeah.
You do all realize that back in the mid-70s, I believe it was, we did go to a 5-man board for a brief period. The problem was they couldn't get people to fill the positions. And I don't see that being much different today. Not that many people that want to fulfill a position that have the time and energy to do it.
I know 3 people right off the bat.
I'm going to say.
Well, they get on because they have an issue, and then once the issue's
Well,
taken care of,
that's the
then they
issue,
lose
yeah.
their interest and they.
Right.
Yeah,
There's-
that might have been what happened back in the 70s.
A part of it. Also, that law that you're referring to about communication, it's never been challenged in court. And in order to challenge it in court, they would have to prove harm to the town people of one kind or another, whether if you were talking back and forth. And let me tell you, it happens. Maybe none of you guys do it. But I did it, and I know people in the past members that have done it. The secret is to make sure you do not arrive at any conclusions. Seek out information, feelings, that sort of thing. Without exposing yourself to the rabble-rouser that sometimes sits here and will take 3 words out of a 5-sentence paragraph and make you look like an idiot. Because that's a big reason to not discuss all your feelings about an issue in public. But you cannot make a firm decision in private.
You bring up a very good point. When we sit and talk here, that tape recorder's running, and we're all very aware that that's running.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that you may know and things that you may want them to know that you can't say. And you get caught in the position of the manager being what kind of whisper down the lane with the manager all the time. And I don't know whether 5 would cure it or not. The select board is only as good as how well we all work together. If we can't work together, it's It's awful.
And
It is
that's,
awful.
but that's why I'm hoping with a 5-man that we could work better, you know what I mean?
It'll
'Cause
all
I could-
depend who
No,
4 and
I know,
5
I
were.
know,
You know,
I
I can
know.
see it 4 and 5 that would be just a nightmare in here, and we'd get nothing done. I mean, I've been in this room with certain individuals when we had a 4-hour meeting, and that is no lie. It went on and on and on, you know, to the point where I want to bang my head on the table. Put me out of
Because I
my
mean, like,
misery.
right, and I said it last time, and I'd say it again. I mean, right now, with Ken as our town manager, I think we're very fortunate.
You are.
I feel I can funnel the information through Ken, and I feel confident that it gets funneled back to you guys. So I don't see that part of how the 3-people board has a problem per se today. But if his role changed to a different person, I wouldn't be quite so comfortable funneling everything through.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
So I mean, then it's
It's
different.
so heavily dependent on personality. It really is. And I don't know any way in the world to take it out of it. And, you know, it's...
Well, you're dealing with politics ultimately.
Cynthia Hall spent a lot of time talking to me about our job here isn't necessarily taking a particular position, but making sure that the town gets to make a decision, take that decision to the... So that's kind of where I'm at on this thing. I think it's more important that we give them the opportunity to make a decision if they want to make it. You know, ask them, if you go in there to town meeting with it on the warrant as we're definitely going to do this, I think a lot of people would be jumped by it and they would be forced into a fast decision that they might later regret. So if we took it the straw vote thing and there's time to, well, they'd still have to make a decision. We somehow have got to get this out there that this is a possibility to get them thinking about it before, you know, I don't know how to do that really.
Well, if you had the straw vote in March, and it seemed to be a positive response,
Then
then
we'd
you
have-
could have a special select board meeting,
We got to be 90
special
days out.
town meeting. You'd have plenty of time
Yeah,
for the
we
next
do it in December.
March to, discuss it, et cetera, and to have a special
And round people out to
Town
run,
meeting.
find people to run. That's the big one
vote, and
too.
then you'd have time to come up with candidates.
Right. Because as you found out, you walk in cold off the street and it lands on you like an avalanche, you know? And your phone rings off the hook and you have people in your driveway and that's just because you're the new guy and that will stop after a while. It will, that gets better.
promise?
I promise. And I can tell you how to make that happen. It's called call waiting. Boom, I'm not taking that one. So,
I think, you know, and, you know, what Bill said, and what you also said, is the idea of everyone being able to get along together. And one of the concerns that I have is moving forward. Now, this year, next year, you may be able to get 5 good people who can work for the good of the town. What are we going to look like in 3 years in terms of getting people? For me, I would love to see some, not that you're not all young, you are, but really younger people may be involved in part of our town government for longevity. But it is a concern. What do we look like? I mean, I don't know. I'm
this
just
business with the park, the multi-purpose field, the rec field project that's going on, there's a lot of younger people involved in that, and a lot of those people come from Sangerville. So that's a way in the door for them to.
If they will do it.
Well, they're doing that. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
as you know, as long as they don't get turned off and turned away, doing that, they should be encouraged to move on.
I mean, it's a tremendous, it's a tremendous commitment. I mean, it's not something someone can take lightly at all. It's a tremendous commitment.
It's fascinating, it really is. It's really fascinating. Go ahead.
It's,
I just a question. Do you meet every 2 weeks?
No, the first Tuesday and the last Thursday of the month.
Unless it's a special select board meeting like this coming Wednesday, so.
We go.
So it's roughly every other week, yeah, it's twice a month.
But
Twice a
average,
month.
twice a month.
And just historically with regard to attendance, how do you do? Because if a select person is missing, how
I've missed.
Still have a quorum,
I've
you
missed.
still have
still do
quorum?
business.
I
Okay.
missed one time I was sick.
Very rare to have someone miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed
I had a
one.
As long
family
as
thing
I've
and I
been here,
missed
it's
1 or 2. I can't remember if I missed 2.
I've missed more than they have.
So that isn't
On
an
vacation.
issue.
Well, the only thing, it wasn't, but that worked out kind of funny because when my dad was sick and I missed a meeting or 2, you guys voted on something and it was at a standstill.
Yeah, we
And then-
hung.
And then
Yeah.
I made the
Hung jury.
We hung
So
ourselves
we
up.
went two that way.
It was a
and then
stubborn
I
movement on
came,
both of ours.
Made it to the next one, but you didn't make it.
Yeah.
So then me and Tom hung it still. So we went 3 meetings in a row.
Yeah.
But see,
juries.
the key to this is most of the time, 98, 99% of the time, it's a unanimous vote. It's very rare we'll split. Because the real way that this goes forward is if we all can agree on something and work out a compromise, because somebody, if they're not agreeing, they've got something serious behind them.
Things tend to get tabled if there isn't a consensus strongly coming forth, unless you get to the point where you know there's a 2-to-1 vote.
Right.
It usually gets delayed.
Tom usually makes a
Try to work
protest
it out.
vote every once in a while. That's his shtick once.
And it has to be,
Earn my $1.65
and it must be
a day.
recorded in the minutes.
Yes. And then
And
unless
that's,
it's, why
I
did you do
definitely
that?
agree with that though. I mean, the things that one of us doesn't agree with, in sight of the bigger picture, we do make the compromise has been made and it did get passed.
Mhm.
But, and it was, everybody's interest was on the table when it happened.
You compromised on several tough issues in which there were in the initial discussions, very diametrically opposed
Yes,
points of view.
yes.
But so when you hear talk out there, we don't get along, and
But we worked
that's
out.
crap. Because we work it out.
But it's the same way as you hear that though too, as well, they always vote all together. We do, listen to the tape.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Don't read the minutes, listen to the tape. The
But
minutes
there's a
don't
big
reflect
discussion
what the
for some-
discussion was to get to the minutes.
Now,
Because
a
when
5-member
I say
board,
that-
you probably would have, it would be less, there would be less pressure to have a unanimous decision. So you would have a little more polarization in a 5-member board than you have in a 3-member board.
But I don't,
It's just the human
The
dynamics.
Right.
but I don't feel pressured to vote how you guys vote.
I don't either, you know.
That's what I'm, with what you just said. I mean,
But the
we do
pressure's-
because we all work together and we compromise.
work out.
I spent 5 years
Yes.
coming to these meetings with Tom. Most of the time, I know how he's going to jump. Occasionally, he surprises me, and you learn the people after a while, and you know what kind of things that they're really interested in. And so you are Dale, no overtime Greg.
Right. I'm pretty cheap, you're gonna learn that.
So the compromise, I think you come out with a better decision. I'm not sure the decisions would be as unanimous and as much of a compromise, because you wouldn't feel you had to, because you'd have 4-1, 3-2 votes.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting.
Just the
Yep.
people work.
If you can figure out a way for me to talk to either one of these guys, I'd never mention a 5-year board again.
Puppet shows. We'll do
Yes.
puppet shows for each other.
And I understand what Bill
Melissa
said, and I'm not, it's
Yeah.
just when I open that book up, and that's clearly what it says is quorum. If you have 2, and anybody, even doing it the way you do it, and if, say, me and Melissa did have a conversation, or me and Tom, and I know what we did, and we both walked away, and we did not make a decision, we just talked about it, and 5 people drive by,
Oh,
and it's
absolutely.
just, it's
Well,
not
if you're on
worth
the phone, how are they gonna drive by and see you?
it. It's just not worth it. It's really not. I'll do it the way the book says. That's how I'm gonna do it.
All right, well, I'd make a motion that we table it for now due to more research.
Do you want to bring it up next meeting, or do you want to bring it back?
Go for a while.
Do you want to bring it back when
We'll
we
skip one.
write the warrants?
Well, you're gonna see what you're gonna go to,
Yeah, I'll investigate
yeah.
out in Brownville. That's one of the towns, maybe a.
We can take it off for now, and we can put it back on.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, I don't have
Yeah.
anything precedent to bring up next meeting about it.
Yeah.
Support.
That
I
part
usually
I
would
would.
just keep
Pushing.
putting it on, and you could just keep tabling it until you're ready to make a decision of going for a straw vote
We
or
could just not talk
whatever.
about it. Well, I just as soon not.
I usually put it on so it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, yeah, okay, so let
So
it,
just
let it
table.
ride, okay.
If we don't have anything to add next week, we'll just pass it quick.
Yeah.
Who made the motion to table?
I did.
Second.
Take a vote? Okay.
Okay. The third is a accept an anonymous donation of $50 for the Veterans Memorial Park.
Thank you, Tom.
I thought it said anonymous.
It's always anonymous when it's you. Jeez, come on. Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Let's take a vote.
You okay with that, Tom?
Yeah.
Did he vote for it, or
Yeah.
you want a recorded no vote?
You're
No,
not
he
gonna-
voted yes.
You're not going to abstain or anything?
No.
Now,
Adoption
bias
of the
involved.
GA ordinance. Why don't you,
No,
no, the
no,
generator.
generator.
the
Sorry.
generator, the fire department wants to buy a generator. They had discussed it last year. We have an opportunity, if by some date in September, if they buy a generator that's above 7, they want to buy a 20 or 22K. It would be,
You're going to run Sangerville.
it would,
Starting a beacon,
Well,
are they?
it would come with a 10-year warranty, which is,
How much is this thing costing?
The smaller one was around 5,000. If you go up, it goes up by maybe about another 500. So maybe say $6,000.
And what are they paying for it out of?
Out of their money.
No,
It's
they
going
already
to cost a
got
lot more
those.
than that.
Those numbers are coming from Brent.
Yes.
Washburn.
Yeah, yeah. So
Is
those-
that with the hookup and everything?
Yeah, that's what he said.
And more importantly, run on propane too.
Now, that's up to the fire department how they, it's-
Yeah, we're not
Jeff
bothering
says
them
it.
to.
but the part, huh?
Jeff says they went for it.
Yeah. The part that the select board needs to discuss is hooking the town hall to that. One is the idea that the town hall could and maybe should be gearing itself over time to being a disaster
It's called a community shelter,
shelter.
as opposed to a Red Cross shelter, because I talked to Tom Caprero at MEMA today, had a little sit-down talk, went over it. Red Cross status for an emergency shelter is really strict.
Too many.
There's a lot of, you have to have facilities for pets and all this other stuff. And he says a community shelter is a lot easier to work and less inhibitive. But part of the reason why I went there was just trying to feel them out as far as any kind of funding. They did say that their resources are pretty lean.
But they do get grants periodically from the federal government for terrorism and stuff like that. I've gotten money for the school in Greenville under that program. But so, eventually we probably should have a defibrillator here.
That's true, Tom, can you?
This first floor is easily accessible for handicapped, so there are no ramps or anything else, which is good, and the bathrooms are right here. There's plenty of room on the second floor for non-handicapped, and might be an impetus for us to get a chairlift, vertical chairlift, so we can have town meetings up there.
Now, when we talked about this earlier, and we tabled it, but when we did table it, we mentioned getting the cost from an electrician of what they would cost.
And he was supposed to have it for tonight's meeting, but he hasn't. But he did come out here and measure where it would connect in, the distances, connecting in over here, et cetera. It would come in across here, it would go.
Is it going to go
underneath.
underground?
It would go underground, and then under the building to exit over here where the power is by the library. And he was supposed to get me a price, so I don't know the price.
I can tell you, just from our experience, we run actually for our whole place, we run a big Kohler 20 kW system. It's been absolutely fantastic. And the cost, and if you're going to do it, if the fire department's going to do it and we have any interest, the time to do it is exactly when they're doing it.
Yeah.
That cost, again, just for the electrician charge, really, it's very easy if you're not de-hooking up solar or something like that. Just a panel adjustment, and it should be somewhere around $1,200.
See, then we could make sure that the The boiler is on it, so that we have heat.
Yep.
Don't have to put the heat pumps on, we just need the heat for the winter. And it would run the offices here with the computers and the lights, so we could maintain.
And that
Town
would further
business.
lead you to, in the case of a community,
Right, where, that's the biggest thing, is to be able to have emergency power. And then after that, you get someone
and
will
you
probably
can
give us a
communicate with the
defibrillator
Red
and
Cross
other
or
things.
whatever, or
Stockpile some
MMA.
water.
Well, 20 kW, trust me, you're gonna run that place and this place, anything that you wanna run.
You're gonna run half a town. I mean, you could run 6 houses around here on
That's
20,
I
yeah.
mean, we're able to run everything in our house, shop, in a can, and with everything running.
20K is
So
way
that's a
more
lot of
than
power.
Are you on
That's what the
propane?
electricians
Are
recommend.
you
But
on
the only other
propane,
thing
Doctor?
is-
Propane.
Yes, propane, right, we have 1,000, we have, that one on the,
800.
yeah, that was another thing that I learned. If they tell you you should be getting a 500-gallon tank, make sure you get 1,000, and we have an underground tank. So I think ours is a 500-gallon tank there, but it's propane.
Mm.
And they're very, very efficient. I mean, they exercise themselves by themselves, 15 minutes every week. I mean, it's
Every week
really,
they go on and check. They're
Yeah.
automatic on and off.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
no one has to run out and turn it on,
No.
which is what they have to do
Yeah,
now.
this is.
The other thing too you're supposed to check into is some of the modern heating systems require certain types of generators to run them. You just can't use certain generators to run certain electronics and certain computers. So before I would be willing to vote yay or nay, I would really like to see the cost, and I would like to make sure that our heat pumps that we have are going to run on generators.
We weren't planning to have the heat pumps run.
Even your computers. Even your
Well,
computers. I
yeah,
mean,
it was-
we need to make sure what we're going to get is clean power, not static power.
Yeah, let's call it sine wave.
Okay, can I wade into this for a second, guys? I'm looking at July 31st, 2016 expenses, the printout, okay? What line are you planning on taking it out of?
For our connection,
Yeah,
Don't say it. Don't say those.
because when I'm looking at the 31st of July, we're at 48% left, which is right where we ought to be, but that means that there's nothing extra.
I was looking at the town hall renovation reserve account.
Okay, town hall rental reserve. Okay, all right. And how much was in that one? I'm not seeing it. Town hall rental reserve, well, we put 1,000 in, but I'm not seeing the,
Should be about
is it in the,
I would really doubt that we're gonna dig a trench from here to here and down the length of this building and get over
We're
here.
not trenching down. It's coming into the building.
Okay, but I still would doubt you're gonna
here
do
we are,
that.
reserve
$1,000.
accounts.
Well, he's going to give us a price, so we
That's
don't have to
right.
Reserve
guess.
accounts,
Yeah.
town hall rental. There is $4,000 in that account after town meeting this year. Now, the second question I have on the fire department, even buying the damn thing, is that they're at 45% at the end of July in their expended budget. So they're right on target. I don't see slush unless
No.
they're planning on
At
using,
the end of June would be closer to 50%, but at the end of July is 7 months in a 12-month period.
right, but they're 45% left. They've got fire department improvements, they got 65,280 left in it. I see they billed 1,400 against it.
But in the reserve account?
It says year-to-date net 1,400.
Is that for the repair?
Um,
Is that where that runs?
That's fire department improvement, the
Yeah.
the 71 account. But fire department improvement is a reserve account. Fire department improvement is a reserve
We
account.
haven't taken any money out of the reserve account.
And see, they're saying, and there's something strange about firehouse improvement on the capital reserves, because we're saying we've got $11,928.
Mhm.
How did we get that? Because we never put,
That's the audit.
she's wrong.
Well,
I mean, she's wrong again. All right, you know, it's sitting there right now, but we never, if you go back through the books, there can't be that much money in it. They spent everything they had when they did the addition in the front. They were down to 0 2 years ago, so how did we get $11,000 in that puppy?
But I wasn't planning on taking it out of reserve for the fire department.
I don't see how they've got to do it. I just don't.
Last year, they
regular
had
budget.
about 11,000 left over.
Yeah, they did last year.
But last year was,
Depends on calls and everything else, too.
last year was kind of messed up on them spending wise, because wasn't that when we went through chiefs and everything? And
Yeah, they were.
so
they
there was a
were.
lot of things that didn't get purchased that was.
And they were being
should've-
good because we just gave them a fire truck.
Right.
So, believe me, when they decide to spend money on radios over there, you want to hold your breath and hang on for the ride, because they spend big money quick. I don't know. So, yeah, well,
I would like, myself, I think it should be I don't see it on this year. I don't see it, I think it's, the numbers aren't here yet, and I question, same as you do, if we have the money in either their budget or our budget without pulling it out of reserve accounts.
right, and I'm not sure, and I know. She can go back in and fix audits too, because she's done it before. I chased her around before. And obviously that blew past me and I didn't catch it. So I'll go home and I'll look at my copy of the audit and see if I can find that.
I wasn't planning on taking it out of the reserve anyway. We have to be out of their operating budget.
Right.
Jeff didn't mention anything about the Friends of Sangerville Fire Department
No.
monies, no? 'Cause
Well, see, the
Nobody
fire
has any
department,
idea what's there.
we don't have to do this right now. We've got till the 30th of December. If they're going into December and they've got the money to cover it, we can buy it.
The whole purpose that was coming up now is to get the 10-year warranty.
Well, I'm sure they'll have 10 years. They'll have warranties later on. And
Well, if they want it bought in December, tell them, you want us to sell it to us, give us a 10-year warranty.
that's right.
Well, it's the manufacturer that.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to the manufacturer.
My only thing is everything we're talking about right now, as far as pricing and costs and equipment and what's gonna run off in it, this was all discussed before. So I would have thought, to bring it back to us now, we would have these numbers and the information.
Well, there's two pieces of this. One is the piece of what we would pay if we want to connect to it. The other is what they want and have asked for out of their budget.
But the fact remains too, before they buy something like that, yes, we lump sum. They also have budget lines. And yes, we oversee their budget lines. So they really need to run that past us too.
Yeah, well, that's why it's here.
That's a big addition
Big
for them.
expense.
It's a big expense. And I have seen years where the fire department's been $15,000 in the red coming. That's part of the reason I'm sitting here, because I couldn't stand looking at that. And if they're on schedule with their budget, that means they're spending right along at the budget levels that they brought in. At the spending rates for the things that they said they had. So I don't see the slush. I don't see what are they going to do without. And if they could do without it, then why did they tell us they needed it in the first place?
Well, there is another factor involved in this equation. When I talked to the fire chief today, I asked him about the old unit that's over there now. That is functional, but you got to go out there and start it, the whole thing. It's just minimal effectiveness. But he did say that the electrician, if I remember correctly, he mentioned that the electrician has an interest in possibly purchasing or offsetting cost by taking the old unit.
And how much was the electrician planning on giving for it?
Don't know, didn't hear any numbers, and that's why Dave's probably right.
And
We
that's
should probably get more numbers.
and that's the other thing too, is we're only authorized to sell things worth up to $3,000. We have to get a vote of the town beyond that to sell it.
I don't think
It wouldn't be
it's
that
It
much.
was worth $3,000.
Don't worry, you won't exceed
a
that.
pretty old unit.
He
I mean,
didn't
if
want
we
the-
was in a different power area, I would be a lot more pro this whole conversation, but I'd be willing to bet that the amount of time that this building has been without power in the last 5 years, you could almost count on your hands. And you're not talking any length of time. Now, this year, we did run into a couple of times that it went out. Both times were CMP planned. Didn't tell anybody they were CMP planned, but they were CMP planned. They did the same thing to us. We're on the same grid at work. It was right during the day. They just pulled the plug.
Yeah,
Shut
but-
the whole town off.
Not all the towns on the same grid lot.
Coming
Come out
out,
of Dexter.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this building
Yeah.
in Guilford, we're all in that same zone. So, and we're all conveniently
That just
right
shows
to the
yard,
power
that's
station. So this is never gonna, I don't see this being down for days or hours.
Ken, do you know who the manufacturer they're considering?
Generac.
And I will tell you, I spent 3 months doing research, and that is a mistake. I'm talking now commercial unit. Again, that's what we looked at, and again, research, and the Generac just does not hold up. And I don't care if you have a 10-year or 20-year warranty. For basic, simple stuff, it's great. You need to go to something like a Kohler or something on the commercial line. You need a commercial generator. I mean, if you're going to make the investment, I think, Jody, it's at least 5 years, the warranty required. And service is $75 a year. You have to change to keep your warranty. 2 spark plugs, synthetic oil, and the filter. That's all a commercial requires. So that's something that should be in the I think should be in the consideration.
And what do other fire departments around use? I mean, is
Small
this,
portable. A lot of them use the actual smaller portable that they keep on the truck that they would take on a scene. Most don't even have what we have.
I wasn't in this area in '97 when the ice storm occurred. I don't know how many days, if at all, Sangerville was without power.
I was out for
I
5
was-
days.
5
You were?
days.
I was, on French's Mills. It was Mrs. Loman's tree, one branch.
Oh, okay, well, I was out for all of 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, Sangerville was only out for a short time.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, I just don't.
And the
Now,
other
the bigger
part,
concern I know for the fire department, which is
Keep the
completely
trucks
different from
warm.
here, no, it's not even the trucks, it's the doors.
Garage doors, yeah.
They have very old garage
Yeah,
doors.
and they can't get them open.
They can, but they have to manually get up there to flip it to do it,
Yeah.
which that's a different problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're all getting old over there.
so,
Yeah, yeah. Well, so then it sounds to me like we got more research we need on what kind of generator we need and actual prices, and we could buy the thing and we could wait till the spring to put it in if we had to, if there was some sale thing going on, but I'd like to wait close to the end of the year to make sure he really has them.
Well, there's the other question of whether the Generac is the
And I'd be very happy to
Kind.
donate all of my research that
Yeah,
that
that's
we've done, or
beautiful,
come
thank
out,
you.
and take a look and see what we've got out
You
there.
can go
kind of-
for a field trip. Take Tom.
Terrific. We'll be waiting for you guys,
So we
absolutely.
wouldn't want to, no matter how long the warranty was, get the wrong.
Right.
no, I mean, to me, I see that's a capital
Thank you for
improvement
coming
between
tonight.
the two
We would
buildings.
have been right.
You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that's
But
not
if you're
a,
gonna do it, you should connect this building for the simple reason, was it last winter or the winter before, we did have a power outage and had height of winter and wound up with a couple of frozen pipes.
no, that
See,
wasn't for.
we
no, it
already
wasn't
know
for
we're pushing the envelope on general government with just the FICA on Ricky. We know that.
Okay.
We picked up Ricky, we've got FICA, and FICA only is in general government. So we've got extra there that we weren't, initially didn't count on. Now, next year, hopefully it'll get adjusted, so all costs that go with Public Works will be in Public Works. But right now, we could really be out to left field in general government, really over. And I don't want to go into town meeting explaining why we're overdrafting. That's very unpopular.
Well, that's why if
I'm
we
not
were,
going with you.
that's why if we were to connect to this building, I would recommend that we use the reserve account.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah, it's also very cheap insurance. I mean, you talk about freezing and this,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
this is the cheap side. Putting the generator over there, that's your big
Yeah.
expense. This costs next to nothing, and compared to ever having a freeze up over here,
Yeah.
that's for our peace of mind. That's what we use it for, and it's a wonderful thing to have.
So we need,
so
we need
a
prices
motion
on
to table.
colas,
We need
right?
a motion.
It almost
to
sounds like
table.
we need a committee to research or something, because we gotta get information, or somebody needs to get more involved than where we've been.
It shouldn't
Because we've been
just,
an awful long time and we don't have any information.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how we need to move it forward so we do get.
Well, there's the town hall reno committee. Get the town hall reno committee to reno
Work with
themselves.
the fire department.
Work with the fire department, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, make a meeting with those folks in the.
That'd be a good idea.
And hopefully you'll come and talk about generators.
I'll be very happy to help any way that I possibly can.
Super.
So,
Town hall renovation with the fire department. Need a motion to table.
Make motion table.
Take a vote. That's unanimous.
Tom, did you second?
Yes,
Yep.
you did.
Okay.
Okay, so talk about some GA ordinance
No.
appendices.
Yes, so you need to adopt
the
Adopt the General Assistance Ordinance Appendices A through D, 2016-17. They'll be attached to your minutes.
yeah.
Yep.
So need a motion.
Motion to adopt as
Second.
stated.
Further discussion? Take a vote. That's unanimous.
Okay.
Bye, Bill.
Signature. Bill, leave us.
He's bored with it. Had enough. He's had enough.
Enough?
Jeez, well, we got an hour and that's about as much as he wants to put into this. Okay, we're to item 9, road issues. We're at the traffic control
The
ordinance.
traffic control ordinance has been through the road committee a number of times, and now it's before the board to get any suggestions from the board to change the draft. Then it has to go to a public hearing. From the public hearing, then the select board can either, if there are any suggestions,
Yes, I
add
have some.
that and eventually pass the traffic control ordinance.
I have some suggestions.
So, you're not passing anything tonight, you're just coming up with it. If you have any,
Have comments, I have suggestions.
I have one. I have one suggestion for adding to, on section 2, no, in section 5, construction, right, and under chapter 2, driveway permit, the owner is responsible for all construction and restoration of disturbed areas for the entrance within the limits of the
I'm
right-of-way.
sorry, I've lost you.
I did
Section-
too.
Page 4. Page 4, section 5, construction, down at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
A.
Chapter 2, right, yeah. Section 5, okay, go ahead.
Well, my concern is somewhere in this thing, there needs to be something about if a contractor is using their equipment and damages our public roads, they need to get billed for the damage. Because it happened twice down on French's Mills within the past week. I sent pictures. Once at the end of the road and once down in the middle of the road. And if they stave up our roads, we need to send them a bill. I assume that they would have insurance coverage for damage that they might inadvertently do. But
Assuming.
it doesn't really, I just think that the taxpayers of Sangerville should not be tapped when somebody gets work done and somebody,
Okay, so you want to say like the owner is responsible if there is any damage
right,
to the townway?
yeah, owner's responsible if there's any damage to townway.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
from the way you read that, do you mean the owner of the property or the
Yeah.
owner of the vehicle causing the damage?
the owner of the vehicle causing the damage. Thank you.
Because
This is
the
construction.
contractor-
Right,
Yeah.
right, because I hire a contractor, he's supposed to be insured.
This would make us running after whoever they hired, as opposed to, we know who the owner is. They're the ones that hired the contractor.
Right.
It's after them to go after
And if
the
the-
contractor.
And if the property owner don't pay, then you can put a lien on the property, you can do whatever, you can collect that money.
But for us to go running around, they may have hired someone with no insurance. We don't want to get into
Would your homeowners cover that, Tim? You know all things insurance?
I don't know.
Your homeowners would cover it if you were liable. Well,
I don't know.
actually, I don't know why you couldn't turn that in because your insurance attorney would go after the guy the contractor.
But you have to have, I guess we lost
Them old
5
cars.
kids up there.
Really? I mean, maybe I'm going too far with this. I'm just thinking about.
No, I don't think you are. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just thinking to myself, like he's saying, you got to try to track down who it was that did it. And the other thing, then, so if once you find them, and you say, hey, you owe us money, and they say no,
Prove it.
prove it. So now you got the town paying for court costs to take them to court.
Money
Whereas if you keep it to the townspeople,
to the landowner.
to the landowner,
But we already said in A, the owner is responsible for all construction and restoration of disturbed areas for the engine. It's the owner that we're dealing with.
Okay, yeah.
They may be doing it themselves. We don't care who they hire.
I think you're right, Ken, yeah.
Want to get into whether people have insurance or anything else.
So is this, so the way it's written right now, is that enough right there?
Well, I can put a C. The owner is responsible for any damage to the town way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they know that.
yeah, because we don't have anything about that. That would be good.
Yeah. So I got that in.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, the only thing that I see that I didn't know if we want to leave or reword was chapter 16, last page. The ordinance shall be administered and may be enforced by municipal officers or their duly authorized designee, such as road commissioner, code enforcement, or law enforcement. Do we really want everybody in the weather enforcement
Well,
office?
the code enforcement officer has certain powers. We don't have a constable.
Right.
And ordinarily, we would call the sheriff's office.
Correct.
Which is ordinary people, but this, a lot of this.
Honestly, my particular thing was, because my next thing that it is about the boat ramps. So let's just say that you got a bunch of people without ice fishing and blocking the road all day, and then all of a sudden our road commissioner goes over to, because we're saying he's authorized, to please move your vehicle and blah, 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 and that could end up in something you don't really want.
Well,
us
the road
involved.
commissioner would order them, his next step then is to call the police, the sheriff's office, who have the authority to arrest.
Which has happened a few times down here in the corner when.
I know, I was just trying to, do we want
I don't think,
our townspeople,
yeah, I don't think the sheriff would want to be coming in unless he had been told by a town officer that there was a violation.
correct, as far as, yes, but that's what I wanted, how it worded, was that we notify the law enforcement, not we notify the people. I don't want to get into a altercation.
Well, what if we add on the end here, who
You know what I'm
then,
saying?
notify the appropriate law enforcement?
Yeah. I just don't want to see us trying to do the right thing and end up in some type of altercation and...
Right. They're not out there with a
Thank you.
badge on them, trying.
I really wanted to, but I couldn't. All right, the other thing that I see, my own pet peeve, so I'm only going to whine for a second, but will be on page 3, M,
Page what, 3?
page 3,
Yeah.
M, boat ramps.
Yeah.
You have no parking areas for Edgeley boat landing. So there is no way to park at Edgeley, at Center Pond, and not be in violation of this ordinance.
Well, we don't want anyone to park there.
People park there all the time. It's a
What,
boat
and
landing.
leave their trailer?
If you go fishing for the day, what do? Do you take your trailer with you?
Every time I've been down there, no one's been there.
You're just lucky, but I mean, that's how it works. There's no...
Empty.
Oh, yeah, the parking lot needs to be fixed, that there needs to be something.
No, but I'm just saying, we're saying one thing in an ordinance which we know is going to fail. As long as we're okay with that.
I think what this is trying to get at, see here, no parking in the access areas. That is, you can't block
The ramp.
the ramp.
itself.
So if somebody else is, maybe just put.
Should we say in the ramp access area?
I don't know, I'm
Ramp
just saying, the whole thing, that is our access down there, and it's repeatedly blocked. That's why I'm just saying, that's, how do you wanna, we're writing something we know is gonna fail.
Well, if they block it, then no one else can, that means only one goes out there at a time?
It happens very often,
Oh my heavens.
yes.
Was-
And in the wintertime, there's no place to park, so they park the entire length of
Yeah,
it.
see, for the
Yeah,
edge
but
of,
nobody will be launching their boat
No, not
in the
then, no.
winter time.
They won't be on the boat ramp,
Okay.
they'll be blocking snow.
so we say, how else do we say no parking on the ramp?
I'm fine with leaving it, because I know we need to correct the situation, I just wanted to bring it up.
Well,
I don't know what to do there, because we're just writing something that's gonna fail.
Okay, well,
If everybody's okay
let's
with
give
that.
the general public something to,
Something to complain
right, I
about.
took out the horses, there's
Something
nothing
new.
left.
Something new and exciting to complain about, absolutely.
Yeah, I see what you're,
Yeah,
Needs
well,
it.
next year there's more to be done down there, right?
All right. Done?
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
only things
You're
that I
done?
noticed.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, my turn.
Okay, what do you got?
Page 1, section 1. Unloading and loading freight for a period of up to 2 minutes. Doesn't that seem a little short? I don't know if you've ever
Which,
delivered
number one?
anything,
That is
but
kinda
I think
short.
something like 5 minutes might be,
all right, 5,
I mean...
20.
10, what do you want?
20. Yeah, I wasn't
I put
gonna
down
get that.
5 or 10 minutes.
Give me
I
a
mean,
number.
2
10?
minutes to me is...
2 is a little bit,
In the
10,
winter time when it's cold and snowy and...
10 minutes,
All
20,
right.
15 minutes.
What?
Give me a number.
whatever.
10.
10
whatever you
minutes?
want.
I don't care.
I like 10.
10.
Okay, all right.
Melissa's
10 minutes, we're
I'll
going
make
that
it
way? Okay.
I'm making a suggestion of
She's
10.
making an executive order decision.
Yeah,
Okay,
if I thought
10.
that would work, where
Okay,
I could go
got
with
it.
that.
All right.
Obama speaking.
Brent?
All right, ready? Section 2, nighttime parking exception, C. Section 2, C. Shall be parked for a period of no longer than 1 hour in any street, blah, 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 except on permit. How about somebody with a breakdown? You know, it's going to be, you know,
My question, where do we come up with 15,000 pounds?
Probably from some other town.
well, it's gross vehicle weight in excess. Well, I mean, that's a minor
Well, yeah,
one. I mean, you
you
know.
kind of have a rule that provides for every exception.
Okay.
Except under
Okay.
emergency conditions.
You're not
Except
supposed
in
to
emergency.
park on the highway either, but if you break down,
You're
Leave a
stuck.
note on your window.
Now, it may take an hour, it might take an hour or two to get a record or something.
Right,
you have
to
Flat
expect
bed.
But you
People
can't
to-
leave it there for the next week
Right,
while you
Right.
diddle
You
down.
gotta expect that
Okay.
somebody, when they're enforcing this, is gonna have some
Okay.
level of common sense.
Reasonable.
hopefully. Okay, well, I'm just mentioning.
Okay.
Although that sometimes is a real stretch.
Section 4, parking close to fires. On a public
How
way
are we
within.
supposed to see? We've got to see.
100 feet, I mean, that's okay with
100
fire
yards.
department?
100
I'm sorry,
yards.
100 yards, that's okay with fire department, okay. All
Excuse me,
right.
Dougie's house burned. We were all standing on the snowbank right because
Some people were even,
All right,
Johnny's supposed to burn it. I was
Windows.
inside the fire truck. I was up there.
he was ventilating good for you.
all right. Page 3, J, Pleasant
We're laughing at
Avenue.
you.
Now,
Page 3.
Which one?
Page 3, Pleasant Avenue, J, up at the top. You know, because this happened again last week, another truck from Bailey Construction with a excavator on the back of it was parked right across from Robinson's there, impeding the flow of traffic.
so we got the north side of Pleasant.
So I
opposite
definitely
the
want those
station.
signs put up,
Yeah,
no parking there, because again, it was a hazardous
so
situation.
you don't want this taken out?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm, you know, trying to,
If nothing
Make
else,
it a
if
strong
nothing else
point.
gets past, this sentence needs to
okay,
stay.
that's right. Now also on K, Abby Fowler. Cars parked in the Abby Fowler lot must move them to the opposite side. Maybe Abby Fowler lot must be moved to the opposite side to allow for plowing.
I don't care, because I'm hoping
Languages.
that once that's taken care of, somebody else is gonna own it, and then it's their parking lot to worry about.
The way Peter has it worked out with them, he goes and plows one side, they move them over
Right.
so he can plow the other side.
Right, I understand that, but the language is just a little
Weird.
awkward there. Anyway, like I said, in the Abby Fowler lot must be moved to the opposite side to allow for plowing. All right.
Parking must
During a snowstorm or after a snowstorm?
Yes.
Yeah.
After
And
a
then-
snowstorm.
And then L right underneath it, driveway between the town hall and the fire station. No parking at any time in the fire lane.
Right.
They park trucks there, the fire trucks, the fire department, which has more or less jurisdiction, they park trucks in this alley all the time. A lot of times
Is
when...
this one out here?
I'm sorry, I'm right.
And we have no parking signs all over the place.
Right,
out
but those aren't going to apply. I'd say to accept fire trucks and/or fire personnel
there. No
vehicles.
fire personnel.
No?
No parking in fire
No,
lane,
I had
no
this-
parking in
You
fire
didn't
lane.
like that
had
last
this-
year,
No,
didn't
I
you?
had this out with them, I went over
Okay.
there.
What about putting the fire trucks there,
If you
like
got
when we have
anything done
town
with them, you were
meeting?
doing good.
But they were, the people who don't run sit in the front out there, and then they were parking their car right in the fire lane, like, so I told them.
Well, the one of them went up to the
told them to
Robinsons,
get out.
got the,
Okay, town meeting, fire trucks get put out here in the alley.
So, fire trucks, I'm not
Okay.
arguing with the fire trucks, I'm arguing with the
Okay.
lazy firemen.
I know, you were very upset that day that their own vehicles were parked, and I mentioned it too.
please, let's not characterize them as lazy,
All right.
shiftless.
Now, page 4, section 3, culverts.
Well, wait a minute, let me fix this.
You didn't have to fix that one, that was okay. No parking at any time in the fire, that was okay.
Except for fire trucks.
We had,
I
we
would
had,
fire
a few-
it no parking.
we had a
I
few
would
years
just
ago,
leave it no
one of the
parking.
cats
I
that
would
lived over
too.
in the apartment
I
over
wouldn't put
there,
anything in there.
I mean, because they really shouldn't be
There
parking
shouldn't
the
be.
fire trucks there either.
he had a Lincoln Town Car, broke down over here for like weeks.
Okay.
All right, where was I? Page 4, section 3, culverts. We've got quite a bit here, but we already have a culvert policy that was in effect. Here it is, right here. A culvert policy that Melissa and Mr. Rowe and I worked on, or we...
Well,
Just
he
some-
didn't
yeah,
have-
Because you have an
differences
ordinance
here.
doesn't mean you can't have policies.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Or are we
and-
going to
and
keep
why
this
don't-
policy
Why
in
don't we make
effect,
a
or-
notation to see Sangerville culvert policy, dated whatever?
Well, this should actually, it should just read the first, get rid of pipe or have it read, the owner is responsible for the first culvert and installation, comma, the town is responsible for all future maintenance of the culvert. We don't need all, shouldn't have it pipe, because we don't want anybody using pipe. We want them,
First culvert and installation there,
Yep.
okay.
get rid
And C,
Yeah, because the way the culvert policy is written is he's got to approve what they do, whoever.
yeah, culvert policy dated what? Tom, what's this say?
April 28th, 2015.
April 28,
Mhm.
2015?
Yeah.
Oh, different, same conversation. What you was researching today on culvert, is that what you would do is amend that policy? Plastic metal issue?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Kind of got that straightened out.
okay.
And, okay, let's see here. Now, page 6, chapter 10, posted speed limits. The general rule is 25 miles an hour in a business or residential area or built-up portion and 45 miles an hour on all other public ways. Speed limits in Sangerville are posted as approved by DOT.
Yeah, it's the law.
Roads that aren't posted,
That's the law.
45.
like
That's
my
the
law.
You're 45.
Right.
45.
I know, I'm just
Okay.
saying.
I just took this out of
Just
the
so
law.
people understand that.
I took this out of the law.
Okay. All right. The only other bit of advice I can give on that is the advisory versus the enforced posted speed limits.
You can't have advisory speed limits.
Yes, we do.
You can't have
You
advisory speed limits.
can.
All speed limits are posted, are determined by
Can.
DOT.
Beg to differ. If you have a yellow sign with black letters on it with the speed limit on it, like I do up at Campbell's Corners right up there, that's well, I'm sorry, no, I'll take that back. That's not the place. Like right near Tommy Kemp's on the Flanders Hill Road, there's a sign up there. It's a diagonal sign like this, and it says 25 on it.
That's an
And
improper
it's
sign.
black on yellow. That's an advisory. That's
Improper,
not
which is
that's not an enforced.
Which is an improper sign, yeah.
It's a white on with black numbers on it that is
Right.
the actual speed limit. A lot of people don't know that.
Right, but that proper sign never
A
should
lot of
have
people
put up.
don't care either.
All right, one more little thing here, page 7, section 4, exemptions. And this is going to be an issue with
What's
certain
Woodbridge now?
farmers.
7
Pardon?
exemptions?
Down at the bottom, exemptions, from what I understand, and I got it laid out to me by a certain potato farmer, that perishable goods, okay, can be transported on posted roads. If you want to classify seed potatoes as perishable goods.
Isn't that how the milk truck is classified? Because the milk truck is the same way, doesn't it? Not applicable to a road post.
Yeah, but I'm just saying here,
These are just wordings right out of the law.
right, well, I'm just saying, we put this into effect, and I know we're going to get a mention from someone about this, because
There is a agricultural aspect.
Let me,
I'm not
let me
sure
find,
the verbiage.
let me find out what that is so I can put it in
Just
here.
put the
because
exception for
this is just-
agriculture.
This is all just
Yep.
legal mumbo jumbo.
Yep.
The only other, and I just noticed it, Tom was done.
Are you done, Tom?
just one last thing just to go on to the mailbox thing. You might as well write me out a ticket now, because my mailbox is in violation, and I don't know if I'm
Well,
gonna.
as long as Donna will.
Just write me up now.
Your grandfather.
No, because you don't have to write you up, because a certain person's going to come by with his wing and take it out.
It's a pretty heavy stump of pine, I don't know.
That's why when you put your next one in, you use well casing. You sink it down 8 feet to the ground.
Whack it.
Concrete filled, well cased.
No, mine aren't concrete filled, they're just well casing, 8 feet to the ground.
You
That's
found
all I
something.
have.
Yes, really quick, page 4, section 4, drainage. I think the verbiage at the end of that should be eliminated, just to, in most cases, the pipe size shall be at least 15 inches and 20 feet. I wouldn't even have that there.
Just cross it
I
out.
would, because you're gonna get into a situation where somebody needs a bigger pipe than that, and they're gonna say,
Yeah.
well, your policy says. So if you don't have it, then
And
whatever,
What about no concrete culverts?
Yeah,
that
you
part,
gotta keep that.
I would keep that.
Yeah, keep that.
Okay,
But as far as any
Most-
specific size and length, I don't think I would
okay,
have it there.
got it.
But in the policy, the culvert policy, it says, it specifies.
Yes, and that's what I figured, and Public Works can, I mean, he has to deal with that and tell them what they have to have anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as in here for the general public to look at with a specific size, I think it's better not to have it, let Public Works deal with it at that situation.
Yep.
So I'll put down it was reviewed with amendments. Do you want to make a formal motion to
Accept it
take
with the
this-
amendments.
take it, accept with amendments and then proceed to public hearing?
Do you want to check it one more time before we?
What do you want to, up to you.
Well, big hurry on it, or, I mean, it's been in process
Not getting
for
any younger.
a couple.
Let's send it back for the
Yeah, be
amendments. We'll
following
check it one more
it.
time next time, and
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
meeting after, the first meeting in,
So,
the second
what-
meeting in October, in September, we'll
what,
hopefully,
so just table it now until
yep, table it.
then?
Make a motion to table
Okay.
it.
Second.
Dale seconds, Mark vote.
Yep.
It's unanimous.
Okay, I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I'm doing
Oh,
something.
Tom second.
No, Dale second.
Dale.
Either way.
I'm all over it.
Gee.
Okay,
Okay, road committee recommendation.
Yep.
this was the recommendation from the road committee on what roads to do for next year. The reason for this now is so if we have money to do the culverts, we'll do the culverts this year and not wait till next year. So they have a chance to settle and do what they do, percolating up and down the road over the winter.
Yep, those nasty little devils move. Okay, so it's, last section, French's Mills, Silver's Mills from Hartford Lane to French's Mill Road, and Silver's Mills from French's Mill as far as the money permits. I make a motion that we plan on doing that.
Second.
Further discussion? Let's take a vote. Okay,
Road commissioner report, you have a copy.
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
Only thing I'll comment on is that not given the opportunity to review this as required before it came.
We'll talk at length on Wednesday.
My only thing too, just to add on it, completed for August, he did have rented a skid steer to clean up, but I didn't see anything on the bill yet for that rental.
Yeah,
And
there's no bill on that.
Ken wasn't aware of the rental, so.
Yeah, I think there's still outstanding bills from the fun of August. Yeah. We'll deal with that on Wednesday too.
Okay, the next item on here is we have had money in and out of the budget for crack sealing in the past. And it was brought up at the road committee about Flanders Hill Road in particular.
I'm not
and
going around
Precious
with that.
Hill Road.
Not
So-
down at Charles, no. Reason being, that should never have been paid. His heavy equipment staves it up. And the next time it gets bad, it ought to be turned to dirt. Because it doesn't hold pavement down there, because if he's all over it all times of year, you can't build it good enough for him to do what he does on it. His own equipment yard is not paved. He wouldn't waste money on it himself, so I don't see why the town should. There's better places to crack seal. The top of Silver's Mills, where those big longitudinal cracks are running down the road up there, right down from Alice Moulton's. If you put some crack seal in there, we could probably salvage that for another 6 or 8 years before it breaks apart.
Well, that was what Bob Davis has said, because he came in and Ken and I both asked him about the benefits of the crack sealing. And I think you came up with a figure of 67
Well, I just wanted to
cents a
find
foot
out-
on that is an
I-
example on the
On the
Flanders
Flanders
Hill
Hill,
Road.
I knew where it started, where it stopped, how many
Yeah.
feet, and how much that would cost.
And Bob did say that, you can get 5, 6, 7 more years of life out of it if
So
you...
the cost for crack sealing, that turned out to be, was it
67 cents a foot.
67 cents a foot?
If
May I
you
ask
look-
a question?
Go ahead.
Is that 67 cents per foot per crack, or 67 cents per foot period?
Probably just
You mean
per
of like
foot
actual
period.
running mile or
Right?
running, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, if you got 3 cracks,
Yes, he's got a little
Laterally,
wheel that he
I
runs
think
along.
I bet it's
yeah, it's
67
per foot.
I think.
per running foot
Yeah.
of crack.
And that's what this was.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's more than one crack in the road.
yeah.
No, I understand. It happens on that one, it's right down the middle.
That one there.
Flanders Hill.
Yeah.
So I just wanted a straight linear line,
Right.
this number of
But my
feet.
question was, is it 67 cents per crack per foot?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
On French's Mill, if you go down the first mile where Eastler's are, you'll see there's cracks straight across the road, and the snowplow's going to start catching those. They're bigger every year.
Across
Okay.
the road.
Yes, directly across.
Perpendicular.
Yeah, come down them.
Yeah.
They'll
Could
take
we,
you
could we
through.
separate the issue? One is, if there's any money, can we do some crack sealing?
We have money
And the
here.
other is
I-
which to do.
My only concern with the money that we have available as of right now, because we still do have bills coming in,
We don't know where we're at.
we have no idea where we're at. I mean, we rented a skid steer, that's on the books. We rented an excavator again the other day for work. We don't have a bill on that yet. We have culverts. If we want to do this paving issue, the culvert issue for next year's paving, that's 6 or 7 more culverts need to be put in out there.
I want something that I can use up every nickel left in the budget.
I
This
don't-
is something I could do at the last minute.
How about just like we
Yes.
did for item B, as money permits?
Yeah.
That's all.
I would almost, personally, I don't know how
It's the
long
lowest-
it takes,
it's
but
the
I would like
lowest
to
priority.
freeze what we're doing contractually with Public Works. Don't hire anything, don't rent anything. Let's get the bills in, let's get them paid, see what we have left, and then figure out what do we need to spend to get these culverts changed out. And like you're saying, crack sealing can be done last.
Yeah.
So we could get our culverts done, then figure out that we got, whatever, 3,252 cents. Call the guy up, this is what we have, this is what we can
That's how
spend.
far you go.
There is a little tiny
spend it
chunk
all.
of money there's a tiny little amount in a road improvement reserve account that's been hanging on the books for years. It's wasted money sitting there forgotten. And there is $2,135 there's some crack sealer money right there that we should.
I'm not against
And that's with.
crack sealing. I want to do it too, but I
That's
just,
under our $3,000, what we can,
Mhm.
limit kind of thing. So we could spend that out, and that's not hurting anything because it's kind of a lost soul out
I just
here.
wanted this as a last,
Yeah,
last
but I
last
really,
thing out the door.
as
be
far
done
as where to do
before
it,
winter,
I
though.
really don't want to see done down on Flanders Hill. I really
the
don't.
the only reason why that road was brought up was because where that road does this,
Yeah,
Let's see.
if we sealed it, maybe it would last longer.
but he is doing that because his big equipment's pushing it out, squishing it out. And he's in and off of it. Somewhere in the doings of all of this stuff, we need to have some substantive discussion about not running, I'm sure there has to be agricultural laws somewhere that limit how close to the edge of the ditch. Because when every year you fill up our ditches and then have a fit when we dig them out, that ain't good, That's a bill to the taxpayer in Sangerville that they shouldn't have to pay. So, that's just, one of those things that irk me.
Just keep in mind, though, the excise tax that's brought in by all those truck registrations and trailers that come in. I'm not trying to make any justification for you pay more taxes, you should
And
get
how
more
much
attention.
federal subsidies does that farm bring in too? You can go online and look that up. That's
I
astounding.
personally was just looking at it as a hot top road and it's doing this and it's got a crack in it. I wasn't looking at it
There's
as.
deep philosophical
No, I
issues.
understand and I'm not trying to go there, but
We just spent $100,000 on it, it would be worth putting $5,000 into it.
that was the general, there wasn't anybody
Yes.
at the road committee that was the definite. And actually, I brought up Silver's Mills because I've noticed that at the beginning, that hot top is only 10 years
That
old
was,
and that's
that
cracking.
was mentioned 5 years ago when Phil Curtis came and gave us that big lecture that time. 5
Yeah.
years ago that was discussed about
So-
those.
I don't know how this works, but I really like the idea of trying to
Right.
limit public works to minimal to no spending, long enough to get bills in, get everything paid, see where we're at.
So he says his plans for September are what? Changing cross culvert, ditching and reset a driveway culvert. He screens the old winter sand, but that's not gonna cost very much at all. And we have to actually buy some sand at some point here. We gotta
Yeah.
do the new sand. So that's still hanging out there.
But we could move to doing the sand.
He can do the sand, he can screen, he can do the sand.
We still have some brushing we could do. We have other things we could do without spending a lot of money.
Right. You wanna make a motion of stuff that sort of that we hold off until because in a couple days we should be able to have the printout for August.
Right.
And we could all feel better having seen that because we're basing our decisions looking at July. And
So I'd like to make a motion to table crack sealing at this time and limit public works spending to get the bill.
let's just do the crack sealing
Okay, that's
first.
what
I'll
I'm
second
saying.
you on tabling
right.
the crack sealing. Any further discussion, Tom?
No.
Vote? Okay, that's 3-0 on tabling the crack sealing. Now go on with your next.
We don't really have it on here, do we have to?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can-
So,
Make it
on-
F.
This is a Lord of the Rings moment.
All right,
Make it
so we're gonna make an F thing, public works. We're gonna put a freeze on contractual spending
Yes, I like the way that's phrased.
until we can get the bills in to see exactly where we're at.
With the exception of working on the winter sand.
Yes.
With the exception of working on winter sand. And I will second that. Tom, would you like to?
No. Oh,
Anything?
no, no,
Take a vote?
Wait a minute,
hold on.
so it's Melissa and Tom,
No, it's Dale. Melissa seconds. It's a 3-0 vote.
so it's Dale and Melissa.
Yeah.
And until when?
We'll pick it up the next board meeting.
Until the next board meeting?
Yeah.
And then we can lay out what's going to be
We
done.
need a plan.
We need a plan. Then we know how much money we got by the first
Okay.
Tuesday and second Tuesday in September. We should have all the bills in.
We're only talking 6 or 7 culverts for that aspect of it.
Right.
So that's not a time,
No, he can do. I think he can do culverts up until the snow flies.
so that's what I'm saying though. We're not at a time restriction.
It gives us time to do this money, the Gray Road and the,
Right, because that's the other
Culverts.
thing. We
Do we have money for the gray rock?
I hope so, because we made a lot of false promises for a lot of meetings in hopes to get some of that done, so we're not gonna be very popular if we can't
I
find
know
out.
we get all
We'll,
the bills in.
we'll shake some stuff out on Wednesday.
We still have the
Trailer.
Trailer, let's talk trailer.
We have one trailer, and no one in the town
Can
is allowed to
drag it
trailer
around. Okay.
empty, let alone with anything on it.
So did you ever get the trailer weighed?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
what the rating of the trailer is.
Okay,
The rating of what it can carry,
okay.
nothing about the
So
actual weight
is
of
there
the
any
trailer
way that
itself.
we can actually get DOT to put a stamp on, put a tag on that trailer?
No.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
We know it exceeds 10,001 pounds.
Okay.
So,
History of trailer. Let's have a history of trailer lesson, just for your edification. You want the history of the trailer?
Well,
The-
Lance had mentioned some time back that that trailer had been bought right around the same time as the dozer got purchased.
Right.
So, and the dozer is more than 10,000 pounds, so the trailer, that's why it's a triaxle, and whatever it's rated at, it's over what a Class B license can pull it.
Right. And the trailer was out of service up until 11 because it was sitting in a rusty heap behind the town garage. And one of Peter's first jobs for the town was taking that trailer and putting it back into service
Brakes,
again.
lights,
cleaned it up,
paint.
looks good for a
Right.
1970,
Right.
Yeah,
78
so-
trailer.
You know, so if it fell off of the registration, it probably was because at the time.
Maybe that's
they
why
weren't-
it wasn't registered.
It wasn't
That's the other
That
thing I
would
found
now
out.
add that piece back
It wasn't
in.
registered,
Right.
so.
Correct.
Right, so that's probably why it wasn't registered, it was just parked back there and
So
forgotten.
it is registered now and it is insured.
Because there was a period in Public Works where they really weren't using it for road work at all. The only thing they used the bulldozer for was to do winter sand.
Right.
It had one job and that was it. So, okay, so we've got a trailer we park and, you know, this is part due, it will be on Wednesday, so we can,
Well, the other thing too, and what I asked Ken today was not trying to not ask Peter. I'm assuming he's worked for the town long enough now. He's known and had the opportunity and knows we have the interest in having a Class 1 license, and he hasn't done that. So I asked Ken to ask Rick tomorrow if that is anything he has an interest in.
I
And he
would,
can still ask Peter. I'm not saying don't ask.
I would say, this all can get thoroughly covered on Wednesday because I happen to have a piece of that I'm not willing to share at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. We just know where we stand with the trailer
We just
situation.
we have a yard ornament for the time being.
It's also
All
a pretty
right.
one.
Huh?
It's bright, it's a nice bright color.
Well, we should get some, we
It
should
looks
get
nice.
some.
Well, honestly, if we need to haul the trailer or anything, let me know.
40-year-old trailer.
Brent, you can come get my pickup and you can haul that trailer.
As long as you don't hook it up to the wheeler, right?
No, yeah, you can haul my pickup. I got a farm plate. We can go get whatever we need to, move the bulldozer, whatever.
Yeah,
I
okay.
just can't do it with a big truck, that's all.
Okay, so we're up to appointments,
Stay away from
none.
the
Reports,
DOT
none.
waste stations.
All right, brace yourself, guys, we got a big one. I make a motion that we approve the following consent treasurer and payroll warrants. 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, 142, 143, 144, 145, 146, 147, 148, 149, 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 155, and 156. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Discussion?
Discussion just on a couple of things on warrant 154. And I already talked to the town manager about one thing, and that is buying culverts and going all the way down to Newport to pick up the culverts. And I was told by the town manager that Lovell's, who we've bought culverts from before, doesn't do a lot of stocking of sizes, but I'm figuring in the fuel and the 2 hours round trip to go down to Parish Union to pick up the culverts, and the time. What,
How many hours were you there?
more?
You had to wait
Yeah,
in
but you
the
went
line.
through all these bicentennial things.
This wasn't,
Well-
you're not talking about when Dale went down. We're
No,
talking
no, I'm talking
when
about
Peter
public
went
works.
down.
May I, I have a
But-
plan to solve our pain on Wednesday. I do.
Okay, my only suggestion on it was that if we know that projects are gonna be coming up, they're gonna involve culverts, if Level Hardware can get the sizes that we need, then we get them from there. That's a 10-minute trip.
Absolutely,
They pick up
that
the
makes
cul-
sense.
Provided but then even if the price is a little bit higher compared to
Oh, time.
trucking and
Uh-huh.
labor and
Yeah.
everything else, okay? So that's my suggestion on that.
And usually Level Hardware is really good about
Andy's a
special
good
ordering
guy
in
to work
anything.
with.
If you order it and you pick it up, he usually gives you a very good price on it.
Yeah.
Because the time that nail went down, I called them first, and they didn't have them, and we needed them.
Yeah, need them right then and there, yeah.
But we know we have other culverts coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
On this ticket here from Lane, you know, a couple of times, I just want to make sure we're getting the right bill here, because this one says the town of Dexter, and then it was noted Sangerville, and there was another one here, town of
Scratched
Dexter, and I think there was one here from Ripley. I mean, these are all,
They had a load.
we have the right
They
money.
had a load to Dexter, of which part of it was to come to Sangerville.
Oh, okay.
Remember, it says
All right.
on there how much of it was going to Dexter, and then
Yeah,
a piece
yeah,
of it was coming
yeah,
off.
okay,
for-
all right. Oh, okay.
That's
All
why
right.
I think why-
Just as long as we're paying what we're supposed to be
Yeah.
paying, that's all I'm concerned with. Okay, that's all my
Should I
discussion.
take a vote?
Yep. Oh, I gotta sign that.
Okay, there we go. All right, so, statements and supplements none, executive session none, adjournment. I make a motion we adjourn at 8:16. Do I have a second?
Second.
Vote?
Which one gets the credit?
Whoever, whatever you write.
They both were like desperate,
That's
so
right.
yeah.
You be the deciding factor.
Well, I think
Desperate, yeah.
Tom didn't second as many as you, so.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll rescind my
So
second.
Have you
he
seen your
earns
second?
his keep.
Yeah, you need to earn your keep on a regular basis
And
around.
then the vote was 3-0.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.